actually got very interested on, going into some fasting and prayer and what it says in the Bible about fasting. So,
Yeah.
And also re-entered my relationship with God lately a lot better.
Sure.
So that's a lot to do with. That's probably all to do with that. But I'm still kind of studying that to figure out if they did it for the disciplinary, for their mindset to say, hey, you have to control. It's just like saying a cuss word or whatever. You have to control your mind a little bit.
Right.
So,
Right.
I'm sure there's other reasons, but I haven't got that deep into it yet. So.
Well, we've used it as like when we get hungry, that especially in the first day, the first the days, we use it as that hunger feeling as a reminder of that's when you're like supposed to pray, and that helps us, because we know that's a hormone spike that will eventually go away, but we also know that it also helps as a reminder. And what Brianne and I have felt like, we've seen like some serious miracles happen when we fast and pray. And Brianne's, this is actually Brianne's example, but she's like, when, like, it's like the door to the kingdom is open just like with a little bit, you know what I mean? When you just regularly pray, but when you fast and pray, it's like the doors are wide open. It's like you can just be like in the throne room, and we've had some really powerful, very emotional experiences with it actually. So
well, that only makes sense because prayer works in all matters like that. As long as you pray and then read Scripture, it gives you. That's the finished conversation with God. So
right.
You can be directed how you want to. So if it means, if you're looking for mindset, obviously it's a huge thing.
If you could go back and tell yourself anything, what would you tell yourself before you started this 40-day fast?
Pray more.
Okay.
Get away in nature more.
Okay.
There was something that was profoundly different when I would go to the lake and just sit there and just kind of soak in everything. It kind of took your mind off the fast, but there's emotions that you receive during a long fast that I can't describe them because it only happens on when I'm fasting.
Sure.
So there was some so getting in the quiet, enjoying nature, and enjoying life, like enjoying all the things, because there's a greater appreciation for pretty much everything. I was like, it doesn't even matter. I don't even know why I'm doing these last 2 days at this point, but I'm just gonna do it because I'm gonna do it. And she's like, okay. And so then during the service, it like hit me like a ton of bricks how awesome our God is that He would give me the strength to go 40 days, and it was insane. For some reason, it was just like this big old understanding of how big our God is. And then I've had kind of a change of heart and like how I live my life. I feel convicted of how I'm living my life, but for some reason, I've just been like hit like, yeah, you don't do all these things, but what are you doing for me? Like from God, like I'm like, it's a good question.
Oh man, conviction.
Yeah, for real. That was an interesting deal. As I was like, it was very powerful. I didn't expect it to happen.
You're feeling the whole thing. I mean, that's kind of awesome, and also it's kind of crazy. And I did tell you that there were times when it was going to get emotional for you.
Yeah, well, that gluttonous issue was one of the things that God's really kind of worked on my heart about. He's like, dude, look at how you got here. Like just devouring everything in sight, man. Like, I mean, if you put food in front of me, I'd eat it, period. And that was just crazy, man. And I got worse than ever in my life.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Everything God provides for us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And actually, we found a verse in 1 Timothy 4 that talks about that. That basically, like, there'll come a time. It says, "Comes a time in the later days when people will tell you not what food you shouldn't eat, and it's anything God created is good." And isn't that crazy?
I love it.
It's like people.
1 Timothy 4. What's that in? I'm gonna have to look that up.
I'll give you the exact verse.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think it's 1 through 4. 1 Timothy 4, 1
Okay.
through 4. It talks about like things like one of the signs of the end times is going to be people telling you don't eat certain foods that God created. Right? And
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
and then people like now, like, don't eat apples, don't eat carrots, don't eat
Yeah.
potatoes. You know what I mean? And it's like, And we're telling you, like, don't eat the stuff that God didn't create.
Right.
Like, you know, like,
Isn't that the truth?
What made you decide to do a 40-day fast?
Well, Davey, first of all, honestly, because I didn't even know it was a thing. But after watching Davey's videos, I was, in just seeing what he went through, I was just very fascinated by that. And everything I was watching, I was like, I want to do that. I want to go through that. I want to experience that.
I think that's for most people who start fasting, realizing how much they go to the fridge for comfort instead of to God, and where we're supposed to draw our comfort from.
Yep.
So that's huge to recognize
It is.
that.
And even now, I don't really need fasting fuels, but when my hormones, like yesterday and stuff like that, are really pushing hard against me, I sometimes forget and don't even think about, okay, well, did you pray about it?
So what were the benefits that you saw, the spiritual benefits that you saw over these 40 days?
But at the beginning of this fast, I hadn't been going to church for years and I've been wanting to really bad. But I had this internal fear and this internal, like, I don't want to go before my peers. I don't want to go before the town because they all stare at me and and I got to get over that and just be like, okay, it's time for me to go back and be a part of the church again and be a part with God again, and just to get over my weird issues that I was having. So that's where it started. And on day one, when I went back to church, we had communion that day, and I was so scared to go have communion. But it was really nerve-wracking for me to go up there, and as silly as it is, that's where I started on my journey. Was like, this is like, I'm an anxious mess, and I felt so silly to have it, but I was. But then at the 40th day, you know, my last day right before I'm breaking my fast, they had communion again. And that time I didn't even question it. I wasn't having any fear. The anxiety was gone. And so I think I put in the post, it kind of felt like a welcome back, like like a pat on the back, like, you know, this is where you belong, and I'm going to take 40 days and prove that to you, you know?
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of an internal feeling and mentality for me. But also I was noticing that last week of my fast, I had a funeral that I had to go to, and at that funeral there was a lot of messages given, a lot of pastors spoke, and I just remember, I mean, yes, I was sad. I lost a really good friend and a religious mentor of mine, you know, but I was way sadder than I should have been. And I was crying so much, and I talked to Sam and Brie afterwards, and I was just like, it was like I was the whole time they were talking. And then also the week before at church, and then the week of church, the day I broke fast too, it was like the whole time the pastors were speaking, I couldn't look away. I was listening, like I was tuned in and focused. And even this week when we went to church too, my husband wanted to actually go sit down with everybody instead of standing in the back where we normally stand, because that's my comfort zone. And again, the whole time I was just dialed in and focused instead of mind wandering off and stuff like that. And so that was big for me. I mean, because like I said, it felt like a welcome home, and now you need to listen. And I needed that. And I had been praying for that too, off and on throughout my fast. I was trying to practice praying more often, like even if I wasn't eating with my husband, praying during his meal or praying before bed, and having more personal time, or like whenever I was thinking of food, trying to be like, okay, instead of having a fasting fuel, maybe you need to pray. And there's times when I would and times when I wouldn't, because it's still a struggle for me, but that's part of this journey. And so learning just how to pray better, and how to listen more, and how to reopen my Bible again, you know, things I already knew and were part of my life when I was younger, but then I just strayed away. So this was just a nice return for me, and I wanted to do it with fasting too, so it wasn't just about weight loss. I mean, it is about weight loss for me big time. I've got a lot of weight to lose, but I really wanted that closer connection with God, and I got it.
Hi, my name is Tim, and I'd like to share my flexible fasting story. In 2014, I was diagnosed with kidney cancer, and I was not in great health. I was obese, and my body was inflamed. And the perfect body for cancer is an obese, inflamed body. So I ended up having to get my left kidney removed, and the doctor sent me home with no further treatment, just And they told me at the time that, chemo and radiation didn't really work very well on my type of cancer because it's relatively slow growing. So it was renal clear cell carcinoma. So I recovered from that surgery and I continued with my routine scans. And then in the summer of 2018, I got the bad news that I was growing a tumor in my left renal area where my kidney was or used to be. They recommended surgery, and I went in and had surgery in December of 18. And what was supposed to be laparoscopic ended up being a very significant open surgery with, with some complications. My spleen was impacted, my intestines, and so on. And the worst part is the doctor told me they couldn't get it all. It was in a situation next to my spine and aorta where they just said they couldn't get it all. So I had some follow-up scans after that, and the tumor was growing. And so I had to take some drastic action. The oncologist said, they could just do another surgery, but it wouldn't cure it, and it might buy me a couple of years. So obviously I was highly motivated to figure out what's going on. I wanted a polytherapeutic approach. So after some research, I decided that the flexible fasting was going to be part of my approach. Fasting and prayer was certainly a huge part of my approach, along with my devotional time. So I kept up with my walking, and I kept up with my fasting and my intermittent fasting, trying to make sure my blood sugar levels were controlled, my insulin response was controlled to keep my immune system functioning as maximum that it could, all that stuff. And the doctor, even in Germany said, Tim, he said, maybe there's a 50% chance, 45% chance or so we can keep your tumor from growing, and maybe a 2 to 3% chance that it would go away. Well, I came back at the end of October, and I got a scan this past January, and my tumor was gone. I had another scan in June, it was still gone. My prayer was always, God, please heal me. Give me faith for healing. I'll do what I can, and I'm going to count on you for the rest. God feeds the sparrow, but he doesn't put the food in his nest. So I just want to encourage everybody to take ownership. Never give up hope. God is able, but you got to own it. Do your part. That's my story.